Okay, so he says HBO Overkill is my favorite. Yeah, that sounds good too. Because the thing is, they're going to be putting a lot of this content. I'll be curious to see how much of this content comes back in a couple of years. I definitely will, Coco. Um, okay, so I thought we'd end on kind of a fun note today. Um, Now everybody knows Quentin Tarantino. He's developing his last movie, and I think that it's going to be good. It's going to be. I think it's going to be called either the movie reviewer or the reviewer. It's going to talk about one of the very first movie critics, the movie critic, I believe it's called. Anyways, so I found this um, article in IndieWire today, and only Tarantino could do this. And by the way, guys, I should warn you, this is kind of a long article. I will put the pictures up for you guys, but bear with me. I'm really curious to get your thoughts on this. So, what if I told you that Quentin Tarantino was going to be um, putting Elvis in the animation? How would you guys think about that? So this comes from IndieWire. And Tarantino inspired Agent Elvis, and that's what you see. This first picture is what you're seeing. The King battles the Manson family, drug dealers, and Robert Goulet. Agent Elvis is the hand-drawn adult animated Netflix series from Sony Pictures Animation and directed by Fletcher Mulatz. And it reimagines Elvis Presley as a super cool spy in a wild, gory, drugged out alternate reality. It crosses Archer with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, putting the King square in the crosshairs of everyone from the Manson family and Howard Hughes to Richard Nixon and Timothy Lear, all while retaining recognizable signposts from Presley's life, from concert specials to his hatred of Robert Goulet. There's also an array of hilarious cameos, including Stanley Kubrick, the famed director who's no longer with us, including Stanley Kubrick shooting a stage directed moon landing. Guess who ends up in the spacesuit? And a young George Lucas getting inspiration from a lightsaber from Hughes's radioactive urine stream weapon. Agent Elvis is so meta that Baz Luhrmann even voices the director of Presley's final film, Change of Habit. Now, of course, the caveat there is Baz Luhrmann actually did direct Elvis. So, in fact, the Quentin Tarantino like vibe was a key part of the pitch when creators Priscilla, bear with me, guys, can't talk today. Priscilla, uh, Elvis's wife, Priscilla, I can't talk. I can't see her name for some reason. And rock star Johnny Eddy first approached Sony in 2004. Little did they know that the director was simultaneously embarking on his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood revenge fantasy to slaughter the Manson family. Um, okay, here we go. Uh, and as it turns out, Manson and his cults are the centerpiece of the premiere episode. So this is the actual photograph from the premiere episode. Okay, and it's called Full Tilt, in which they target Elvis as he's preparing for his 1968 comeback. So anybody who's seen Elvis, it's that scene where they were supposed to do the Christmas special, and he comes out and he does that. This is right after Dr. King gets murdered, or Kennedy. I'm sorry, it was Dr. King, and so yeah, so um, so they target Elvis as he's preparing for his '68 special. Eddie, who serves as the showrunner with Mike Arnold Archer, specifically chose that pivotal moment as the launching pad for the series because that's when they thought Elvis was at his coolest. So we were kind of like neck and neck with talking with Tarantino. Eddie told IndieWire, who comes would come out first in that like Charles Manson at all. Elvis was really on Manson's kill list, and it felt so like a natural for a jumping off point. The catalyst for the series, though, was the bizarre meeting between Elvis and President Nixon in 1970, where the rock star offered his services as a federal agent to combat illegal drug culture. That encounter found its way into episode 5, where Elvis tries to intercept a secret file from the White House. Naturally, this Elvis regrets meeting Nixon after he witnesses this nasty racism. They were able to tap into other bizarre aspects of Elvis's life, too, such as his obsession with martial arts and his pet chimpanzee, Scatter. Here portrayed as a coked up Hunter S. Thompson like sidekick, who's voiced by Tom Kenny. But the writers were careful about the use of historical revisionism. At one point, we were debating whether or not Manson should die, said Eddie. And we were like, no, because he has to stay alive to become the counterculture demon. So our history tries to stay true to our real history, while our crazy alternate history works behind the scenes. Although Elvis initially resists being recruited into the covert spy organization, TCB, by Starkey agent C.C. Ryder, he relents when offered a jet he relents when offered a jet plane by the Nick Fury-like commander, who's voiced by Don Cheadle. Also joining Elvis in his crime-fighting antics is good old boy sidekick Bobby Ray, played by Johnny Knoxville, who's handy with cars and planes. The story has had to focus on all of how it was going to play out as Elvis is slowly learning how to be a spy, Arnold says. What happens to him without remembering dates back to when he was in the military, at, at the same time growing the mystery of the big threat and who's behind it. Priscilla, who voiced herself, was on board from the outset with the absurd comedy having appeared in The Naked Gun, ensuring that Elvis was a fan of the Monty Python and Mel Brooks collection. The writers that pushed to the edge, and I think they were really brave for it and let them go maybe a little further than she particularly wanted it herself to. Fortunately, Matthew McConaughey was always the first choice for to voice Elvis, so they got him to voice Elvis. Okay, I want to bear with me. So this is the fortunately Matthew McConaughey was always the first choice to voice Elvis. It was not a hard get. How do we make this cool? Eddie says. We wanted the look for the show to be cool. We want all the energy to feel cool like that singular character. And Matthew was such a wonderful fit. We were so fortunate to have him because he had this effortless swagger, and he found it in the music and Elvis's voice that he brought into every line. He worked very hard at that, and he really nailed it. The initial character designs were handled. So it goes in and talks about the initial character designs and everything else. I'm not going to bore you with that. Route provide. Um, so here's one more picture, and then we'll get to the end of the story. So this is Priscilla right there. Okay. This, I gotta say, looks unbelievable. The monkey here. So here's the monkey we're talking about. I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for this. Now, I've never seen Archer. I know of him. I know he's on FX. I know it's a TVMA show. I know there's a lot of dirty humor, crude humor. You know, not a South Park type of way, but oh my God. If this isn't just absolutely fantastic, um, I love everything about this. I love the fact that they're keeping the history to it. Um, they're actually starting out with Manson, which I find interesting, frankly. Okay, but right around the same time, I mean, if we're this is history here, right? Um, so everything about it. I mean, we have Priscilla in there who actually voices her. This looks unbelievably good, unbelievably good. And to get Matthew McConaughey to do this, I can't wait for this. So, yeah, he's like, what? He wants to put Elvis in the anime. Yeah. So it's called Agent Elvis. And this is going to be on Netflix. Show looks like Archer with Elvis. Yes, and that's exactly what it is, Coco. That's exactly what. Even you can tell from the animation, right? I like. I'd like to see the monkey character. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. Scatter is going to be a blast to see. You know, um, going back to this because you know he's going to like follow his lead and everything else. This is going to be like a sidekick type of thing. To be honest, it's so random but awesome. Yes, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And yeah, it something we didn't ask for, but didn't know we didn't. Yeah, it's completely. But see, that's Tarantino. But we needed it. He says. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you have this, it's just awesome. Um, and you can just tell this is colorful too, right? That picture right there is very colorful. Okay, whether it's the orange in the background, or you have the wings, or her top, or Charlie's dark. You know, it's just. But this is Tarantino in a nutshell, right? This is Tarantino in a nutshell. I mean, look how cool he looks there, right? I mean, how awesome is that? And then you have Priscilla who's playing herself. Like, how cool is this? I'm so excited for this. So excited for this. I can't wait for this. It's gonna be a blast to see. It's very unique for him, yeah. But that's what Tarantino is. He's unique, Coco. Everything that he does is unique. You don't see him make sequels. You don't see him do remakes. Everything he crafts, he takes years to do. Whether it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, whether it's Kill Bill, whether it's, Pulp Fiction. He crafts Django. He crafts everything himself because he knows what he wants. That's why he's won 2 Academy Awards. Um, this looks awesome, though. This looks awesome. I can't wait for this. I really, I am signed up. Sign me up. That's all I gotta say now. Sign me up because this is going to be one of the best. This is going to be my guess is this is going to be right around the time that maybe his final film comes out. We'll see. I don't know, but I can't wait for this. Anyways, guys, what do you think about this? Are you interested in a Agent Elvis uh, series? Do you think that it's going to be a flop? Do you think it's going to be a hit? Who, you know, would you sit down and watch it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section and I'll get back to everybody.